The live streaming platform Twitch had a major data breach yesterday that includes the entire source code of the platform, internal documentation, and the revenue of all of their paid content creators. The magnet link was posted to your friendly Mongolian throat singing board, and this is the post that got everything started. We bring to you today an extremely poggers leak. Twitch is an American live streaming service that focuses on the video game live streaming, including broadcast of esports competitions operated by Twitch Interactive, a subsidiary of Amazon.com Incorporated. Their community is also a disgusting, toxic cesspool. Wait a minute. Wasn't this posted on 4chan? And the pot said to the kettle, "You are one black son of a gun." So to foster more disruption and competition in the online video streaming space, we have completely pwned them, and in part 1 are releasing the source code from almost 6,000 internal Git repositories, including the entirety of Twitch.tv, with commit history going back to its early beginnings before it was even called Twitch.tv, mobile, desktop, and video game console Twitch clients, various proprietary SDKs and internal AWS services that are used by Twitch, every other property that Twitch owns, including IGDB and CurseForge, an unreleased Steam competitor from the Amazon Game Studios, Twitch's SOC internal red teaming tools, and the creator payout reports from 2019 until now. You can find out how much your favorite streamer is really making. So this is the main thing that people are talking about, how much the creators are actually getting paid. As you can see, many of them have made millions of dollars a year from live streaming. And mind you, this is just what Twitch pays them. This doesn't include sponsorship money, donations, or merch, which I'm sure all of these creators have because they can hire staff to handle all the logistics of that stuff for them. And if you're making this much money as an e-celeb, I would imagine that this is your full-time job. You don't have anything else that you're really doing on the side. So it's definitely a viable hustle to be an e-celeb if you can deal with it and not get banned. But to be honest, I don't really know why this part here, like learning how much these people are making, is such a big deal. I mean, it's not a shock to me at all that they're making that much. Like, I personally make a couple thousand a month from ad revenue and donations as a small to mid-size creator on YouTube. So obviously the top guys are going to be making millions. I don't think that this is really going to change anyone's opinions of these streamers, unless of course their whole shtick is like literally shilling communism or socialism and the eat the rich ideas like Vouch. Then maybe people knowing that they make millions shilling left-wing ideas might be bad for business. But even then, it might not even be that big a deal because lots of people still support Bernie Sanders despite him being a multimillionaire who owns multiple properties. But anyway, let's not get stuck in the muck of politics. You guys can argue about that in the comments section because it's good for the algorithm. Let's talk about what really matters. What's really important is the source code leak. So across these various zip files are all of the internal commits for Twitch going back to when it was Justin TV, as well as the source code for CurseForge and Vapor, which is that unreleased project that Amazon is developing that's supposed to be a competitor with Steam. I mean, really, Jeff Bezos really wants to take over the world, doesn't he? Like, the guy makes an everything store, he buys the everything streaming platform, he creates AWS, which literally makes up a huge percentage of the internet, and now he wants your gaming as well. But this is kind of like when we had the Windows XP leak, except this is a leak of something that people are actually using, and it's not a deprecated operating system. Twitch is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, live streaming platforms in the world. Jeff Bezos paid about $1 billion for this stuff, and we get to have it for free. Now, even though the code is technically open source now, there's not very many people that can actually really use this. You know, don't just copy and paste the Twitch source code in order to make your own streaming service, because it's still copywritten, and you best believe that Jeff Bezos with his team of lawyers will board his cockship spaceship and launch an attack mission for Uranus. At least if you live in the US. Maybe if you're outside of its jurisdiction, you could go ahead and copy paste the source code. But one thing that could come out of this, which might actually hurt Twitch more than creating another streaming service, is improvements to ad blockers. Because since we have the full source code, we can actually see how ads are actually implemented, how they are served up, and with that knowledge, I'd assume that it becomes a lot easier to figure out how to block them, which means that people might be able to start consuming Twitch without having ads shown to them, which is kind of how Twitch makes its money. But it actually gets a whole lot worse than just the source code coming out and potentially cutting off Twitch's revenue stream. So we have the SOC internal red teaming tools, which are basically the tools and procedures that Twitch uses to keep everything secure, which they're probably going to change now because obviously they didn't work too well. I've also heard people say that they found the Docker container access keys in here, which I'm sure those have been changed by now as well, but I'm just imagining that the InfoSec team at Twitch right now has been plunged into absolute chaos. They probably haven't slept for the past 24 hours, or I think more like 36 hours at this point since the leak happened. Because yeah, now anybody can just look at the Twitch source code and they can try to find exploits for Twitch, maybe do things like finding ways to more accurately figure out where streamers are physically streaming from in order to mess with them, which has already been a problem long before this source code leak. There's entire compilations of people getting swatted on Twitch that you can go watch. Maybe someone can also figure out a way to redirect where streamer payments go, like instead of bits or a donation or whatever Twitch calls their currency, instead of it going to the creator, there might be a way to steal that and have it go to the hacker's wallet instead. There's also, if we go into Twitch payouts, there's this tax withholding rates folder, which is pretty freaky. This might contain personal information that could be used to dox people. Like, it's one thing if the whole world all of a sudden knows how much money you're making, but it's an entire different deal when now your identity is potentially out there and can be stolen and then sold on the dark web. In order to get paid by these services like Twitch or YouTube, you have to provide them with things like your social security number or your tax ID, your real address, your full name, as well as your banking information. So I really hope that none of this stuff is inside of this leak because yeah, it's going to be out there, especially the info for the top creators. And then going by the names of some of these zip files, I suspect that some more personal information might be contained in things like identity.zip or possibly even this privacy.zip over here. And these aren't just privacy concerns for the content creators either, but also for the viewers. Because Twitch has implemented things like phone and email verifications for your chat, I guess to try and prevent trolls from constantly creating sock accounts and then messing with different streamers. So yeah, that could potentially be in here as well. I mean, there's literally so much in this 128 gigabyte leak. And it's 100% legit, you know. There's also another thing that's worth mentioning is that this is the part 1. So I'm sure that there's going to be other parts as well. Like this leak is also legit. I know some people were thinking that it was fake, but you saw on Twitter that Twitch has confirmed a data breach has occurred. And the part 2 of this leak is more highly anticipated than the next Avengers movie. But I guess that the silver lining here is that at least any passwords that were in here were hashed and they were not stored in plain text like what Epic did. But I would still recommend that if you have a Twitch account, you go and change your passwords anyway, because hash passwords can still be recovered. Even salted passwords can be recovered too, especially if Amazon was using a really bad salt. You know, this is a pretty big security fail, and for it to happen to a company like Amazon, who owns Twitch, is really bad. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the bad security practices that led to this are also going on at AWS or any of the other properties that Amazon owns. And that would probably be the worst thing ever, because if AWS gets compromised, That's a large part of the internet. Like the individual servers that people are hosting their websites on, a lot of them are on AWS. So yeah, Amazon really screwed the pooch on this one. It boggles my mind that trillion-dollar companies like Amazon have the entire source code of their most valuable projects leaked onto the internet. And of course, Facebook, another trillion-dollar company, they had a leak just recently of their internal docs and research. It seems like someone might almost have it out for big tech. So I'll probably make a couple more videos following up about this because I really haven't combed through any of this stuff yet. I mean, it's a lot. It's probably going to take days just to really go through it. And then, of course, there's a part 2 that's going to be coming out. So yeah, I'm going to have to look through this a little bit more. But in the meantime, like and comment to hack the algorithm, share this with your friends and enemies, definitely go change your password on Twitch, and have a great rest of your day.